If the deaf are dumb because they don't understand spoken language, we are dumb because we don't understand sign language. When you see them, you hear and all those things. They are sounds, so they are not mute. A demon has inflicted this person, that's why he's not talking. So such people, when they have a deaf child, they hide the child so that nobody will see. Because you're all praying man.
Hello, everybody. You're welcome to yet another episode of Honnette Insight Podcast. And of course, I'm still your host, Mr. Martins Eze. And with me today is Reverend Green Albert. Of course, you know he's a reverend with a difference, a reverend with the Anglican Communion, who has been giving us lots of insight into various real life issues. And today we are going to be discussing the deaf. And people call them the deaf and dumb, but today we are going to be getting some information about them and how to relate with them and what to do with them and how to care for them.
Thank you.
Reverend Albert.
Yes.
What is deafness?
Okay. Yeah. Like most people will say someone is deaf and dumb. I had been telling people there is nobody dumb. If the deaf are dumb because they don't understand spoken language, we are dumb because we don't understand sign language. So in a simultaneous setting, the D for us and the D for them have been removed. So they are deaf and we are hearing. So when we talk about deafness, there are so many things we bring together to make deafness. Being hard of hearing is a part of deafness. Let me bring in what deaf people believe. That Moses was deaf. That was why he used an interpreter to interpret for him. He was a taciturn who could not speak well. So it is speech impairment. So anybody who has speech impairment, either you can't say what people will hear well, say clear words, or you can't even talk at all. It's deafness. When you can't hear because you have hearing impairment, whether you speak, but it's the ear, is deafness. If you hear partly and speak partly, it is deafness. If you hear not at all and you speak not at all, is deafness. Like some people will say deaf and mute. No, don't call them mute. Even when they can't speak and they can't talk, there is a sound they can produce. When you see them, you hear and all those things. They are sounds, so they are not mute. This is what deafness is. Inability to either speak or hear, or speak and hear, or hear lightly, you understand, or speak lightly but not enough for everybody to understand. This person is having the deaf situation.
Oh.
Yes.
So what are the causes of this?
Okay. There are so many things that could cause deafness. Let's start from what is more physical and avoidable, though not avoidable: accidents. I'll be citing examples in all. I am a priest to the deaf people. I'm a lecturer of special education. I'm a sign language instructor and interpreter. I belong to the deaf 90% of my life. So whatever I would say, but I will not name a person. A friend of mine who is deaf that resides in Abuja, he is 38 this year. He became deaf 7 years ago when he was 31. He had an accident on his way from Ghana. He was involved in an accident. And after the treatment, he was still hearing, but there was a noise that had continued in the ear. He ignored it. When he told a petty doctor, and the doctor said it will stop. It's a vibration of your tympanic membrane. And with time, the noise stopped. So when he wanted to express to people, I want to thank God that the noise has stopped, he was not hearing himself again. And he was shouting at the top of his voice, yet he couldn't hear himself. He discovered the ear had gone. With time, because he was overstretching the voice, the vocal cord got torn. The voice also left. That is to say, accidents can cause deafness. Most times we are cute at fighting and exchanging blows. We know that ear serves for hearing and the balancing as well. There is a blow that will take off your sound. It will take time for you to get back to it. If we can avoid fighting, at least one cause of deafness, which is the blow there, can go. Our people, our young persons in this generation will put earphone to the left and to the right. All the sound going inside and nowhere to release itself. This gradually starts reducing the person's hearing. And you see that when they want to talk, they now raise their voice so that they can be hearing themselves. They're already having the problem. If they can stop at that time, it's proper. So the earphone is supposed to be put in the left. Your brain is in the right hand side. So put the earphone in the left. If you must put in the right, hang it, let it be free, not fused into your ear.
Interesting.
Now, I don't know what I'm going to tell a video editor or an audio editor who must use the two ears to listen to the left and the right. When you are not working, free your ears. So the earphone on the two sides increases the chances of being deaf. Now, our young persons will always attend parties and occasions where the sound is loud so that they will dance like crazy. The loudness of the sound, the intensity of sound will also reduce your chances of hearing, increases your chances of being deaf. Now, let's now go to drugs we take. It might shock you that the ordinary analgesic you take to stop headache can make a person deaf. My member, who is 34 this year, became deaf when he was 11. He slept and woke up, he was having severe headache. The parents gave her the most common analgesic we take at home, and he swallowed it, slept off again, woke up with noise in his ear, trying to explain to everyone. Nobody could hear him. He is deaf now. So drugs can cause it as well. When I say accident, I've said everything about accidents.
Then there are people who are born with
Yes, I'm coming there.
disability.
We say congenitally, someone being born with it. Most times our girls have taken enough drugs to abort. Some of them are too harsh that in the formation of the brain of the child, they will interfere with the hearing and the speech. So that one comes congenitally. There's what we call mutation in biology, sudden change in the genetic makeup. It can result to deafness. A few things in life are genetical. There are people who have one deaf person in their generations, one in families. I have seen that as well. Whatever I'm saying, I have a practical proof of it. You remember I said that is where my life is. Sometimes as well during birth, when the birth process is difficult, the cervix holds the child at the two sides of the ear. Most of them come out still deaf. One of my members cried so much as a child. She was expressing to me when she was thinking of suicide. As a therapist, I sensed it, so I started a therapeutic section with her. When we finally defeated the suicidal thought, she now told me, I want to die because my mother caused my deafness. I'm not happy being a deaf. Today she's happy. She's now deaf with capital D. But then she said, I will die. Why? She said, my mom said I used to cry so much as a child. So someone from the West told my mom to cut the epiglottis so that I will stop crying so much. And my mom took me to the house of the woman. The woman cut the epiglottis. From then, even when I'm crying, they said I was not making a good sound, so they relaxed with it. But I don't know what happened. I grew up. I can't talk. But they said I used to cry.
So mothers should watch out.
Watch out
For wrong information.
Don't listen. There's no reason to cut the epiglottis. There's no reason. There's no reason. It serves us a whole lot of things biologically. It saves the food from entering the air tract. So why would you cut that? And it has other functions. So we have listed a whole lot of things. And sometimes we have this notion. Your smile tells me that's what you want to ask me now. We have this notion.
I wanted us to look at, in this part of the world, Africa generally, people believe that there are certain things that happen, as a result of some spiritual
That is what I'm
involvement
saying.
or
We have
diabolic.
this notion that everything is diabolic. In the African man's mythological understanding, deafness is either a punishment being given by a deity to a family. Someone is being punished because of all the bad things he did in the time he was alive before he incarnated now. His evil has come to meet him. It is karma. That's why he's deaf. Or the deity saw that if she talks, she will say a lot of things that are wrong. So the deities closed her mouth. These are our own ways. And the myopic Christian view, a demon has inflicted this person. That's why he's not talking. So such people, when they have a deaf child, they hide the child so that nobody will see. Because you're all praying man. Jesus once was on this earth. I hope we know that.
Of course.
He healed some deaf. Did he finish all of them? It is not possible to finish all of them. If he said there will always be the poor among us, there will always be the deaf among us. But acceptedly, there are times someone can be manipulated to have this problem. Like I said, I have example and a practical proof of all the things. One of my members, the wife was speaking when they wedded. But the wife happened to be, friend, not member in the church, yes. He resides in Enugu State, not here. The wife was speaking and the wife loved him and they wedded, deaf and hearing. Because of him, the wife went and learned sign language, so they were communicating very well. With time, the wife was the daughter of a fourth woman in a marriage. The first woman, all her children are not married. The second woman, all of them are not married. The third one, all of them were not married. The fourth one was married with the purpose of, because the man was seeking for a male child. So she now gave birth to this daughter and a son before she died. In their own obvious proof, those three wives killed her diabolically. Now, after staying married in this man's house for some time, she started having some undefined encounter, both asleep and awake. And one morning, she shouted from sleep, woke up. And then that shout was the last sound that came from her voice. And that sound was the last sound she heard with her ears. And then later, the mother in the village, the one she called stepmother, was calling her. She could not talk. She sent her a message. Let me see how you be talking since you went and married and all our children are here. For me, that one is not a serious thing. So I asked her, do you want to hear? She said, no, I'm comfortable with this. So I don't believe in deliverance by force. Deliverance is a discussion and agreement. So if she wants to hear, we could pray. I am still Pastor Green. I won't change from that. And if I pray, if God doesn't want to heal the deafness, it will stay there now. I'm not the healer. He said, I am the Lord that heals. I sent forth my word to heal your disease. So the word, be healed in Jesus' name, is enough for the deafness to go. And if it stays there, the healer doesn't want to heal or has not decided to heal. So there could be a spiritual attachment. But let us throw away that concept that every deafness is demon possessed. You see them in programs, somebody will lay hand on the deaf person. You spirit of deafness, out, 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 out in the name of Jesus, out. The person you're praying for doesn't even know what you're doing. And please, let me say this. There is this gimmicks they do on TV broadcasts. They will bring somebody, tell you the person is deaf. They'll touch the ear. Can you hear the deaf person say, yes, a very sounding yes. These things are to fool you. Don't be fooled. If someone has not been hearing, when he starts hearing, the hearing needs auditory training to become brighter, because you start hearing from faint to normal to normal to normally normal. If someone has not been speaking, it's like a child who is learning to speak. He'll start from displaying, lalling, dabbling, and all what before he starts talking. So a deaf person who starts hearing now will not say, yes, it is not possible. I have a member in the church one day while I was preaching. A voice told me, go and tell him on March 1st, next year we'll talk on phone. I stupidly did that too. When I came home, I told my wife I don't enter. I went and told deaf person that we'll talk on phone. She said, then forget it. On March 1st, my phone was ringing. That happened in December 17th, 18th. March 1st, the next day, my phone was ringing. It was him, but my mind didn't go there again. I was cutting the call. My wife told me to pick. I said, he can't talk now. He said, maybe because deaf people will stay with the person who talks, write something, give the person my number. The person will now call me. We talk, then change to WhatsApp call. We talk properly. So my wife said, maybe somebody wants to talk to you on his behalf. So I took the call. I heard a voice that is not clear. And it was the tone of his voice. I dropped the phone because I was shocked. I later had to call back. He picked and he was talking. I could hear faintly. But we started. Now I talk with him without signing. Does God heal deafness? The answer is yes, YES in capital letters, in applied parentheses. Well, it is the one he chooses to hear. And some people will tell me, you are in the church with deaf people. Heal all of them. I'll not be healer now. Now God, if you want heal, heal. If you don't want heal, they did there.
It's good this is coming from a reverend.
Yes.
So we have double advantage.
Yes.
You know, getting to know the true picture of who a deaf is and the challenges associated with it.
Yes.
And then also seeing it from the spiritual perspective.
Sure, it is there.
As a spiritual leader that you are.
It is there.
What can you tell us about deaf community?
Okay. Originally, because I'm talking with you now, you are part of the deaf community.
How?
The deaf community it comprises of all the people who are deaf, maybe including the interpreters and non-interpreters, who relate, communicate or converse with the deaf persons or have interactions with them, living in a particular geographical setting. That's a deaf community. Remember, you may not know sign language, yet you communicate with the deaf persons.
Okay.
There is a domestic signing which people do that are not the normal sign language. The ones you show, man, you do like this to show man because you think it's bad. The woman, you do like this to represent breast. They still understand it, even though that's not sign language. When you do this, you're saying oka. You're saying oka. You're not even saying a woman. In the real American Sign Language, in our Nigerian Sign Language precisely, if you do this, you're saying old. You're not saying bad. And everything has meaning. This has meaning. This has meaning. So apart from that, even when we use that, once we are all in this community, we permit them to enter our vehicle. We even enter the vehicles they drive. You may not know that. Maybe on one occasion or twice, you've entered a bus going through to Bridgehead that a deaf person is driving. They are there. You enter buses where the conductor will not shout, will only touch you. He is deaf. They are there. So everyone living in this setting is in the deaf community. This is the deaf community.
So within the society, we are all in the deaf community.
We are in the deaf community.
Beautiful. Now, let's talk about inclusiveness.
Okay.
Inclusiveness. How can the society accommodate the deaf?
Well, in special education, that word accommodation is always emphasized. It certainly has to be in capital letters and in bold format, because it is one thing we must do. Because most times they are not accommodated. They are marginalized and stigmatized and stereotyped in workplaces. I have a nurse who had not gotten an appointment because she's deaf. She's furthering her education now. Before I talk about that, I want to make reference to the past governor of Anambra State called Willie Obiano. I'm not a politician, but himself and the wife did something. He is the first inclusive politician I know. He created an office of the governor of Anambra State to the deaf. So we had a governor. We had everything. The office of the wife of the governor of Anambra State for the deaf. Everything we had in Anambra State, we had the office for the deaf, managed by a deaf person. And he had an interpreter. That was inclusiveness. I don't know if I made points there.
You are.
So if the society will open up to understand we are in this community together, remove marginalization, remove the stigmatization and stereotyping, and know the truth that we have the same skin, a pair of eye bulbs, a pair of nostril holes, one large mouth and 32, 2 ears, 2 fingers, 2 hands that are pentadactyl. If we respect that fact, we will not marginalize them. We need to include them in everything we are doing.
So talking about marginalization, I understand that there are certain actions that people take, or reactions that people give to the
Deaf
deaf
person.
people that they don't understand the implications. And so how can we educate the people on what can be tagged marginalization against the deaf? Because some of us don't even know there are things we do, we don't know the implication.
Okay.
So when you talk about marginalization and when you talk about
Stereotyping and stigmatizing.
and stigmatizing a deaf person, what do you mean?
Okay, first I'd like to appreciate the Honnette because you are doing great. Having me here today is an honor. To me, a double honor. And this date cannot be deleted from my life and in my life.
We are honored.
Yes, because you have given me an opportunity to tell more people. This is the awareness. Now we need to start creating awareness, even up to policymakers in the nation. Let there be an inclusion of a person who understands the deaf people so that policies can be tailored to suit them. In the education setting, thank God that education has it. In our government, in our churches, when we deprive them of things they should have, it is stigmatization. When we avoid them because they won't understand what we are saying, it is stigmatization. When we give them little, when we are supposed to give them more, because we think we can play them, it is stigmatization and marginalization. All these things, let us do to Paul as we will do to Peter. I am a priest for deaf people. I have a pastor assisting me who is deaf, another one and another one. 3 pastors who are assisting me that are deaf, that are in 3 different branches of our church in Diocese on the Niger. Each time we have a gift in the church. Let me use one instance. Someone came for Thanksgiving and he brought, I think that was 3 crates of mineral, these cans, brought 6 tubers of yam, and they brought 1 fowl. And this ever water, the biggest one. My direct assistant, I gave him the fowl and 2 tubers of yam with 1 crate. The other ones went home with 2 tubers of yam and 1 crate. And they turned around to ask me, what about? I said, the water. I love water. And the water is bigger than all your own. It is not because it's bigger. They are human beings. If I decide to take everything, nobody will beat me. In the church setting, the one who is in charge of everything. But I remember these people are deaf. I need to give them a treatment that they will tell people. The Anglican Communion is not like that. So originally I've represented the Bishop on the Niger, Right Reverend Dr. Owen Nwokolo, to express to the deaf that the Anglican Communion, Diocese on the Niger, in Province on the Niger, Church of Nigeria, is not a marginalizing place. We are not stigmatizing and we are not stereotyping. We are full inclusive. Now, if we will learn from this, if you are giving other children 2 and there is a deaf child, give him 2. He deserves the 2. Any treatment that makes them feel less than others is marginalization. So you check your action out there. How do you treat them? How do you relate to them? Do you ignore them, push them aside? You're marginalizing them. And there is a consequence. When they pack the trauma of marginalization, one day their trauma bank will get filled. They will bounce back at you and nobody will save you because nobody will tell them stop until they achieve their goal. So let us avoid it by avoiding marginalization, stereotyping, and stigmatization. Thank you, sir.
I'm sitting here listening to you, thinking to myself that the government and even the society at large, I think we are not doing enough when it comes to inclusivity, with the
deaf persons.
Why? I listen to music. I listen to music a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I watch movies. I entertain myself. Some of these things that are very entertaining. I go to conferences. in all these places, speech is what you hear.
Yes.
Sound is what you hear.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, how can we be so insensitive to know that these people deserve to enjoy some of these things that we enjoy? And then talking about sound, talking about music, do they actually listen to music?
I would say the question is so broad, so we take them one by one. Do they listen to music? Answer yes. So the intensity of the deafness differs. Those who are just hard of hearing or only speech impaired listen to every music. The others either listen to music that are more resonating, music that vibrates, because the vibration is what their body gets. Or a lot of them do hear the sounds that are either from winds, pipes, and strings. So they do. Most of them, some of them will have earphone in their ear. But the best way they should listen to music is having an inclusive music shorts.
Inclusive music shots.
Yes.
Please
so
explain.
at this, I'd like to talk to our musicians. You can't sign, and you're playing your music, which may have a lot of words that will teach us. We understand it, but the deaf don't understand it. Get a sign language interpreter. Give them one of your songs. He will sign it from beginning till end. Add it at the lower left of your screen. Anytime your song is playing, deaf people will come and listen to it. Church of Nigeria in the Anglican Communion has done one inclusive thing. The primate, Henry Ndokoba, employed the service of sign language interpreters in the Joshua Generation, a youth program done annually. In every year, I happen to be the leader of the interpreters. I go there with 5 to 6 interpreters. We interpret from morning till night every day, so that the deaf people everywhere in the world would join us and understand what we are doing. Now, it is a call for absolute and proper inclusion. The churches that cannot separate the deaf from the hearing and give them a church like Diocese on the Niger did. We have our own church, only deaf persons. I am the priest in the church. Now I have 4 other branches, only deaf persons attend them. They have someone who pastors them as well. If your church cannot separate the deaf from the hearing, employ an interpreter who will be interpreting for the deaf persons. Even if there are no deaf persons in the church, get an interpreter. Let the media give him one camera. When you are speaking, let the people watching you everywhere in the world see the thing. Settings like this may be difficult to get an interpreter because there are 2 people talking and you need more cameras to give one camera for this person, one camera for this person. But in a live broadcast or in anything, our news in the TV should have sign language interpreter. Our conferences should have sign language interpreters. Our dramas should have sign language interpreters. Our movie industry should include proper deaf movies, not the ones they sign or awful things. I've seen some that get me irritated. They are not deaf things. Just someone who doesn't know about deaf is whatever. But then thank God they are even trying. But they should get the service of a deaf person who can interpret a movie from beginning till the end. Deaf persons, not a single person. So that whenever anything is playing in the screen, the deaf persons are also following. This is called media inclusiveness. It's called religious inclusiveness. So the society should wake up. If somebody has a song and wants it to be an inclusive song, we are always available. That song that has spoken volume to teach people, we sign it so that it will also speak volume to the deaf and also teach them. It is time the society had woken up from this, they are deaf, we can hear. After all, what do you even think you can hear? If a deaf person is here while we are talking, he's not hearing us, but he's reading my lips, understanding what I am saying. But you that hears well, at a distance, you will no longer understand because you can't understand the lips when you read them.
Yes.
So they have an ability in their disability, which we don't have in our ability.
Whoa, ability and disability.
Do you understand that? So let us stop looking at them as people who are disabled. They are people who are in the other side of communication using sign. We are in the other side using words. Let us do inclusiveness even in our traffic lights. Let there be signs to show the deaf persons, because you can't stop the deaf persons from driving. 4 of my members who are deaf have their driver's licenses, and they drive me if we are going out comfortably. They drive me from here to Enugu and drive me back. If we have included sign language in the traffic lights, they will understand more than just using the one we are using. In the symbols kept on the roads, we can keep sign languages there. Our schools should be inclusive. If a child who is deaf is brought to the school, let there be a push-in service, or rather a push-out service. This means bringing in someone who will be interpreting for the child, or taking the child to a person who he will stay with, or rather take the child to a special school. We have them everywhere in Nigeria. There is one at Oji River. There's one at Isulo. There's one in Onitsha here in Odapo. And they have everything. Every one of them have everything. They have hostels. They have everything they desire. So let me talk to the parents, wherever you are. It is important you know that in the whole world, deaf children don't pay a dime to be in school. Stop wasting your time thinking you don't have money to pay. Their school is free. Every word government has paid for their education. Bring the child to school. That they are deprived of hearing and speaking, they should be deprived of education. In our fundamental human right to education is one of them. When you don't take them to school, if I see you, I will sue you, because you're depriving them their rights.
That's true.
I think I'm in good shape.
That's true.
And the society at large, let us avoid marginalizing them. This is September, the month of deaf awareness. We must always remember that these people are people like us. Whatever thing we do, they do them, except hearing like we're hearing, except talking like we are talking, but they see and they sign. Let us include them in everything we do. If your music short has sign language interpretation, they will understand. Avoid marginalization, avoid stereotyping, and avoid stigmatization. And understand that deafness is not the problem of the person who is deaf. It either occurred naturally, or maybe as you think diabolically, or there is a physical factor, or pathological factor, or a chemical factor that has caused it. In this, let us understand them and have a very inclusive and a welcoming deaf community. Like this, there won't be any difference. We are one, and we will always be one.
That's a very wonderful insight you have given us into the deaf community and what happens there, and why we should be part of that community, because by default we are part of that community.
Sure.
In rounding up, I heard that there are some level of technologies that have been designed to help solve
deaf.
the problem of the deaf.
Yes.
Things like speech to text, sign to speech, sign to text.
Okay.
What can you tell us about that, and how can it help
Okay. If
the community?
all these things are properly done, I think they will end a whole lot of things. But I know about some researchers who are working on sign to speech. And I happen to fall into a team that is working on sign to text. I know there is speech to text. It is already. These things are good. They will bridge a whole lot of barriers. So my advice is, let all hands be on deck. Let us find further solution. If we find further solution, we will not see these people as different people. Let's do whatever we can. It is possible for us to have sign to speech, speech to sign, sign to text, even text to sign. Just like we have text to speech, speech to text. It's in my phone, it's in everybody's phone. Now we have done ours. Let us stretch the inclusive hand and do that for the deaf persons as well.
Yeah.
That is what I have to say.
Yeah, I like your perspective to this. It's now left for the society. We need to do more to include these people in the things that we do in our daily activities. We need to do more. It's now an open challenge to the people in the tech to make sure that whatever is done to accommodate these people in the area of bringing those apps that can help solve sign to speech challenge and then speech to sign challenge. Because if we have such technologies in the society, it will help in areas in hospitals, in diagnosis, because
in the courts, in the police stations,
even
in shopping malls.
In shopping malls, in different institutions where these people require services. The challenge is out there. So let's see what we can do. Reverend, I see from what you said now that you're already doing something.
We are doing something
about it. And then we are hoping that the larger society should also go into that and see what they can do to help this community. And we are so glad you're here today, Reverend
Thank
Green.
you.
If you are watching out there, you're following us. If you're not following us, please go and tap that button, follow button. Follow us. Like what we like this video or all the videos that we have posted. Please continue to like them. Make comments so that if you have an idea that can help, solve the problems that we are already facing with these deaf people in our community, please make that comment. We want to hear it. And if there are also things that you want us to talk about, you want Reverend to react to, please go there and make that comment. We are very interested in that comment. Thank you for listening. Keep listening. Keep watching our videos. Until we come your way again, this is still Honnette Insights. Keep watching. Thank you.